guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today's video features some products from Altenew. I am using the Stylish Greetings dies and then the Botanical Plaid stencils and dies. A couple of different ink combinations here. So basically I wanted to look at how we select our colors. Altenew does a really great job of putting them into like a 4-color family. And so I picked the two up top to go together. And then I chose some complementary colors to go with them as well. In this stencil set, there are 6 sets. And so I'm going to work through the stencil one time, kind of with a light hand to get more of like a spring look. Like that, I think, is what these colors typically, when you put them together, they kind of evoke spring. And then we're going to talk about like the color choices that we make and the color blending that we can do to help them feel a little bit more rich or a little bit more like another season, like fall, which is what we're in, even though in some places it feels like winter. But I did want to, before we get too much into the video, Altenew has already started their Black Friday sales. They very generously gave me my own little discount code. Isn't that cool? So through today through November 26th at 11:59 p.m., you can get $8 off any orders over $79. You get free shipping, and then you also get their free what is that? They're giving away a free micro blending brush with any orders over $79. And that is, the code is Kelly8, the number 8 off. I'll link it below along with the link. You can only use it one time, but it's good for the next couple of days. So if you're going to be doing some shopping anyway and would like to save a little bit of a discount, like, I'm happy to be able to help you out, and I'm super grateful to them to give me the little code to help you guys out. So let's briefly talk about what their Black Friday sales are going on for the next couple of days. So they have up to 50% off of their alcohol markers, up to 50% off of their stencils, up to 40% off of their inks. And then there's 55% off on a lot of other stamps, dies, stencils, all those things. And there was something else. Oh, they have it's just for today though. They have like an ultimate ink blending bundle or something that's 50% off. So if you were looking to pick up some of their brushes, I used they're the mini blending brushes. I like them a lot. I used those for today. And then, but they also have a bigger one, which I'm very interested in getting my hands on so that I can try that one. I haven't used any of the big ones, but I'm excited to try them. So anyway, those are kind of what's going on over the next couple of days. So if you're interested in any of those things, I would welcome you to utilize that code, which again, I will link below. All right, so now let's talk some colors. So I chose purple, even though that's not one of my go-to colors, because I was trying to like push myself out of my comfort zone. You know, a lot of times we feel like we're always creating with the same colors. We gravitate towards the same colors. And when I was doing this the first way through, like there's six stencils in this set. So 2 for the flowers, 2 for the leaves, 2 for the plaid and the background. So if you're just using kind of like one color, maybe 1 or 2 colors per layer, you wouldn't necessarily use all of the colors that are in your color family, which by the way, you don't have to buy them by color family. You can buy them individually. So here I got all the way through and I realized that the lightest color, that Celestial Mist, was a little lighter than I would like. So I did go back in and add just a bit more shading. But when you stay on the lighter side of things, when you just use those first couple of colors, we definitely get more of like a spring feel, more pastels, which obviously, I mean, that has its place as well. It is very pretty. I love a pastel. I struggle with it when I color, but I do love a pastel in real life, like to wear it or decorate with it. I think they're beautiful. So I kind of went back and forth and kind of played around with them. This is my original sticky mat that came with the original stamp wheel. So it is a little bit stained and well loved, but it still works. Anytime it gets like where it won't stick, I just wash it with regular soap and water, let it dry, and it sticks again. So you have the florals, which I think you could honestly just do a background with by themselves. Wouldn't even have to add the plaid if you didn't want to. But then for this complementary color, I chose like a yellow orange. I know that that's going to seem totally crazy to you, but let me tell you why I chose it. So if you're looking at a color wheel, the blue violet, which is more like the purple that I have going on, is definitely more towards the blue violet side of things. Blue violet's complement is a kind of like a yellowy orange. Because it's right next to blue, whose complement is orange. Does that make sense? So then in order to add a third color, I kind of just like counted 2 spaces over and went with a green. And this is working really well, honestly, to create a kind of beautiful, kind of spring-ish feel. And I'm not mad at it. Like, I think it's very soft. It's very pretty. I think the color combination is a little bit unexpected. But alternatively, I could have gone with a teal as well. Because then orange, like yellow orange, a red orange, if you're going across, then that's the teal. And then if you counted 2 spaces over from the teal, you would find yourself in the blue violet. So that would have worked as well, which is why in the beginning you saw that I had also pulled out the like the pool and the Mystic Lake and that kind of color. I went with the orange because, again, I was trying to push myself out of my comfort zone. I do think I probably I'm just being honest. You guys know I keep it real. I do think that if I had to do it all over again, I probably would do the teal because I know me and I think I would have liked that better. But that's okay. So now we're just going to shift and we're going to pick our colors the same way. So we have a red violet across from red violet. Their, complementary color is a yellow green. And then again, if I count 2 spaces over, I'm going to get a yellow. And so you might be saying to yourself, well, Kelly, why are you counting 2 spaces over? Well, because it creates a triangle. That's really what it comes down to. And so that triangle is going to give you 3 colors that will work very nicely together. And so this one, it is sped up quite a bit because obviously we've already gone through this stenciling process once. But you'll notice as I'm going through, I'm working out to the darkest color. Not on every layer, but I am using the lightest color all the way out to the darkest color. And by using all 4 of the colors, we are able to create a richer color, which feels more like fall-ish or more like a jewel tone. So that is how I'm kind of working my way out there. And again, if I wanted this to be like a spring, a pastel, I could just use that pale mauve and the amethyst. And that would be a much paler version, but going all the way out to the plum is going to make it much richer. Same thing with the greens. For this one, I chose the, it's really more of like a sagey kind of combination. But again, I started with the silver sage, which is the lightest color, and then I worked all the way out to the forest fern, I think is the darkest color for that one. And it makes a world of difference in the richness of the color and the depth that you're able to achieve. Not to mention that the Altenew inks, if you've never used their fresh dye inks, they do dry back. So if when you first put it down, you're like, wow, that seems really like separated, like the colors aren't working as well together, just give them a second to dry and see if the softening helps that a bit. Or because their stencils are super easy to line up, I just went back and forth until I was happy with the way that it looked. I mean, truly. The other option is, yes, Altenew cultivates these sets so that they all work together, but you don't have to buy them as a set, and you don't always have to use them all together. So I wanted more of like a yellowish gold. I thought that would work nicer with the colors that I had. So I chose a mid yellow and the lemonade stand. But then for my darker colors, I went into a completely different family, and I went with the almond butter, and I actually pulled out the milk chocolate, but I don't think I used it. So where am I adding the darker parts? You can add it to like the left and the right hand side and create like a halo in the center. I added my darker colors kind of around each flower cluster to create a little bit of depth and kind of lift them up a bit. But this stencil set is super versatile. Like I said, I think you could use the flowers by themselves. You could also do a vertical stripe and leave off the horizontal stripe, or do a horizontal stripe and leave off the vertical stripe so you're not creating a plaid. But so here are the two next to each other. The one on the right obviously looks much more fall. I am going to add the darker colors to the purple one, so that it does start to read more fall. Here, the stencils you can get and you can use, but then it also has a coordinating die. And the die cuts out the two full flowers. So one is like a flower and a little bud and its leaves. And then the other one is to the bottom right, which is the flower and its leaves. So you can do these, and you can die cut them out to create your own focal point. So for one of my cards, I'm going to use the background just as is. I'm going to put a sentiment on it, and I'm going to call it good. And it is, because there's enough in this background to carry the whole card. The other one, I'm going to use the background as a genuine background, and I am going to use these flowers die cut as my focal point. And so this is how I would add the purples and add the greens, if I wanted to create like that darker, richer color that we talked about. So with the first stencil, we saw it, as creating as a spring. Here, we're going for more of the fall colors. And then we'll just work our way through them, adding the different colors, adding the different layers, kind of playing around with it and seeing, because like I told you before, I do like to go back and forth, because, you can always tell how it's going to look until you start doing it. So this week has already been crazy. It's going to be hard because, as you guys know, my mom passed away this year. And so this is our first like real holiday without her. But on the flip side, I always do try to remember that I do have things to be grateful for. And, so I'm just going to give you, she is fine. Before I tell the story, I need you to understand that she is totally fine. We, as I have expressed to you guys before, we try to make it a habit to go to my dad's for Sunday dinner so all of us could see each other. Since Thanksgiving is here, my nephew, who's going to school to be a dentist, is home. So we were doing Sunday dinner so that we could see him. He came home on Saturday. And so we were over there, we did dinner. Eric did the dry run of the smoked turkey. It was delicious. I totally appreciate all the work that he put in, because he had to like brine it for 24 hours beforehand, and then prep it, get it into the smoker, check it multiple times. Like, it was a lot of work, and it was delicious. He did a very good job. But we were, my son did a fundraiser, a butter braids fundraiser. And so I'm storing all of that stuff at my dad's house, because I don't have like a full-on freezer that I can just devote that stuff to. And so like my sister's stuff was over there. Well, she's like my other sister, my neighbor. Her stuff was over there. So I was over, unloading it. And my sister said to me, like, I don't know which one's mine. Can you, go down into the basement where the freezer is and show me. And I was like, yeah, of course I can. That's no problem whatsoever. And so any other time, and I know that there is like a thing about mom guilt, and also when something happens that could be, here, I'm just showing you the side-by-side comparison of the difference between the two. And then here, I'm going to show you how I darkened up this background by continuing to use the rest of so I used the peachy glow and the golden honeycomb, and now I'm going to use the autumn blaze and the melted butterscotch. So any other time, I would be standing at the top of the basement stairs. I would make Caitlin hold my hand. We would walk down the stairs together. As we were getting ready to go downstairs to check what was in the freezer, my husband said something to me. I turned my head to answer him, and while I was talking to him, she slipped through to go down the stairs without me. So when I turned back around, I saw her like 2 or 3 steps down, and I said her name. I was like, Caitlin, to tell her, hey, you need to stop so that we can hold hands. And she was trying to tell me about a spider on the wall, which I don't even see. I don't even think there was a spider, but I don't know. As she turned to me to tell me about the spider on the wall, she tripped over her own foot and fell the entirety of the way down the flight of stairs. Like, I tried to grab her. I just wasn't fast enough. And I just watched, I watched her fall down the stairs. It was very traumatic. And it could have gone so bad. Like, it really could have gone so bad. And thank God, she really seemed to be perfectly fine. She has some scratches and stuff on her back. That is what she fell on. Like, that's what she hit first. And then she kind of like somersaulted over herself. And she was crying, but like no bumps, no bleeding, no broken skin, no broken bones, no nothing. And, so even in this season where I am very conscientious of the things that I am missing, I am also very conscientious of the things that to be grateful for. Even like I did not sleep at all last night because I was so paranoid. Like something was, I don't know, something was going to happen in the middle of the night to her or something. I don't know. But anyway, and then this morning, like my husband got up for work and he was like, why are you up? And I was like, well, I just didn't sleep well. And he was like, why don't you just go in and check on her? And I was like, well, if I do that, I'm going to complicate your whole morning. And he was like, I don't care. Like, just go in there and check on her. And I mean, really in this morning, it seemed she had like one little scratch on the bottom and like another little scratch on the top. No bruising, no nothing. We gave her last night, we iced it and then gave her some ibuprofen. But truly, like, I have no idea how she came away basically unscathed. Wild. Very, very grateful for that though. So gearing up for the rest of the week, I'm going to be trying to keep in mind all of the things that I do in fact have to be grateful for, like the health of my children and my family. So here we've put them all together, and I use the enamel dots. I used the earth tones, and it just was not popping. But I didn't have a color that would make sense for that particular card. But thankfully, did you know alcohol markers, alcohol ink will pretty much color anything? So I just pulled out my artist marker and I just colored it up that kind of grapevine-y color, and it worked beautifully. So these are both of the cards. I hope that these inspire you to kind of, play around with your color palettes, see, what you can do with the different combinations that you have. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Don't forget to check out that coupon code below, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.